Hello and good evening, everyone. Had to make sure that I had clicked the right live button. It didn't seem like my computer was connecting. Welcome to tonight's edition of Shine Like a North Star. The whole premise behind my company name is really thinking through North Stars. They're not always consistent like humans, and they're reliable because they're in the same position, obviously, in the sky. And so my company's premise is really just helping you be your best, and my catch line is helping you be your best by building the capacity of the adults around you to work well together. Because certainly you can't do it all alone, right? Lots of the world going on. Hey, Kristen, great to see you on tonight. Encouraging everybody to type in comments. I actually don't see your thumbs up and hearts and likes on Facebook Live on the business side. It does show through when you look at the recording. So those are still valuable. The comments are really what I can see. So the more you can share comments with me, that helps me tailor my content to whatever you need. So wonderful to see there. Art Ashbrook, great to see you on too. This is great. I love the participation. Okay, so quick highlight from the last couple of times that we've met. The premise really is to keep these 5 to 15 minutes in and out, super sweet, leave you wanting more. And building on this idea that we need to intentionally build our new reality. Someone in the comments last time talked about like new normal. I hate that expression. Yeah, actually, there's always a twinge whenever you say new normal, like we're so fed up with it not being here already. And that concept of it being a reality opposed to a normal and an ever-changing kind of star that we're guiding ourselves towards. So I like this expression of intentionally designing our new reality, because we're already kind of in this state of whatever the normal is now, like it or not. So with that said, a couple of reminders about some content that we've covered so far. Loud squeaky pen, sorry about that. Is when we think about designing our new reality, that really involves change. And when we think about change, Simon Sinek has got some smart work on really starting with the why and how we often skip that. We often start from the outside of the bullseye in, looking at the what needs to change and then the how. And my kind of argument around some of that is, for sure, we want to go out this way. And then there's also this piece of getting people's buy-in through the what and the how. So you might think of the what as a shared need, which is the first step in change management in the GE model. The how is a shared vision. And then, of course, the why sort of undergirds all of that. So there's this cyclical relationship that I think happens here with Simon Sinek's model, as well as overlapping kind of a change model into that. As someone designing your new reality, you need to be super clear on why you're advocating for what you want to have out of that. So that's just a quick highlight from last time. If you're finding that people are reluctant to buy in, or you're facing some resistance, then that suggests that you've not really paused long enough to get at the shared need. So what typically happens by the time we're like pushing for some sort of change is, I've got a need. I've told you what the need is. Hello, get it and roll with it. And my need may not be your need. I mean, I can't assume that just because I've communicated it well that you're on board. So the trick in this, which is maybe the frustrating part for people, is slowing down enough. So I love this spiral. We're caught in this crazy COVID time, and people have their own agendas and their own things that they're trying to work on. And so I've got clarity around where we need to go. This is my clarity here. But my buddy that needs to be on board to kind of support the change, they're spinning. And so the real strategy around understanding where they're coming from to even know what could be the shared part of our need is this concept called, I talk like it's new, active listening. So I argue in the leadership development work that I've done in multiple countries and states is that active listening is the hardest soft skill to develop. So if I know that something needs to change, I don't need to listen to your point of view because I know I'm right. Otherwise, I wouldn't be advocating for that change in a real kind of humble, tongue-in-cheek way. So let's say some common things that have come up this week in my coaching with leaders is I want to develop a new leadership development program. And I know that my leaders need this. Gosh, COVID is causing some behavior changes, and we could really help our leaders if we let them help themselves through some professional development. So my plan is to pull the leaders together in my facility and really get them on board and help them develop. So I get this plan, I finalize it, I organize it with the right people. And what do my leaders think about having more meetings on their calendar with it being busy? COVID's kind of making stuff busy. Never mind that I go home, my kids are homeschooling, it's crazy, the house is a mess, the dog needs to go outside, walk more, the days are getting shorter, on and on. What's the shared need? Well, if I'm developing the leadership development program, I can tell you the leaders maybe are not knowing exactly how to handle some of the misbehaviors that are creeping up because people are sick and tired of COVID and they're losing some of their self-discipline. I know that they're going to benefit from this. If they actually took the time out to do this development, it would save them so much work on the back end, right? So I can present those needs. You know, you're falling short in your job and you can squeeze something else in your day. That's how the translation is going to go to my leaders. So I need to kind of spin with them through this really underestimated important value of active listening so that I hear what they need. And as I'm asking great questions and actively listening, then I'm starting to think, oh, but, well, sort of. And as I listen to the active listening, I might hear the leader say, I don't know where to make the cuts to meet the budget requirements to kind of cinch our belt buckles right now. Oh, wow, maybe I could do my training and have some strategies to reduce costs as like the initial training thing because my leaders are stuck there. They don't know what to do with that. Is it meeting my wish that they deal with behaviors better? Not yet. But if I can hook them on a shared need of just simply learning and developing as leaders, then they're going to have better buy-in with the subsequent things. They're going to have some wins out of that. So their need is to learn more about making those budget cuts. My need is that they develop. There's enough of an overlap there to kind of say there's a shared need. Well, let's develop the shared vision, which is our leaders are tapped out, they're squeeze any more time in their day. Gosh, what is this going to look like if they learn some of these skills? So I see Michael, my person who really coined this idea of new reality for me, he's written in the comments, there's collaboration versus teamwork. And we need input from all people, right? So originally I could collaborate with my organizers to develop the program. And that's not really collaborating with the right people, and certainly not teamwork if I haven't gone and looped with leaders to say, hey, what's going on in your world that matters? Teamwork demands a lot from leaders. Collaboration requires less active leadership. You're absolutely right, Michael. And so this is a time when we, again, want to be intentional around how we're driving that stuff and how we frame it so that we can really leverage the work, right? Work smarter now, and it's going to be less work on the back end. So last thought I want to leave with you as we kind of actively listen is, even if we have like the most eloquent plan ever, what's going to happen is we'll create, let's say, a leadership development plan. And you're going to have this sort of bell curve of buy-in and agreement and participation in whatever the change is, right? So on this end here is the early adopters. Oh, I said that backwards, hang on. These are the late adopters. Over here is the early adopters. So they're the ones that jump in early. So that's like me. Obviously, I'm an early adopter. I think this leadership development is like super smart and pointed, and we need it. And so if you think of like your typical bell curve, we have behaviors that go with this. And this can really help you identify where people are at in that curve. Not a whole lot different from the stages of grief, because when we do change, we kind of grieve whatever we're letting go of. So the first step is denial. Then we run into resistance. Then we go into exploration. And finally, we have acceptance. So in the example that we've talked about here with leadership development program, the initial denial is like, no, I'm good. I've been a leader for 20 years. Thanks though, right? They're not buying it. They're resisting. Then we might say, well, we have this program and everybody, it's mandatory. Everybody has to go to it. Oh, that's the day I have my holidays booked. Oh, I've got a mandatory meeting with the president. I can't make it, right? There's this resistance. First is I don't need it. Second is resistance. Finally, like, if you make me go, I might explore a concept while I'm there. Well, maybe I might dip my toe in that water. And ultimately, over time, assuming that I build something that people actually need, and I've used their teamwork and voice of customer to develop that, then we'll probably have acceptance. And you want to sort of get through this as quick as possible, but it's fair to say that everybody gets through this. And no matter how perfectly laid out your plans are, you're going to have people at different stages of the cycle. And that's just the human being touch. So that's my nugget for you tonight. Short and sweet, leave you wanting more. My name is Carrie Burchill, and I'm the president of North Star Coaching. The focus of my company is to help adults work well together so that we can really design this new reality that we're all looking for and needing. It's the hope on the horizon. Thank you for joining me tonight. Have a wonderful week.